Hello and welcome to Leeds Hacks News. It's Friday the 2nd of December. I'm Henry Burkinshaw.
And I'm Alicia Lansom. Here are today's headlines.
Residents voice concerns over a new pub development.
There are still fears about cycle safety on the new £29 million superhighway. And oh no, it isn't.
Oh yes it is. Christmas is finally here with the pantomime season underway. Headingley residents are seriously concerned about the future of their community as they await the council's decision on the Eleanor Lupton Centre.
JD Wetherspoon has plans to turn the Grade 2 listed building into a large branch of their popular chain. Megan Packer reports.
Plans to redevelop the Eleanor Lupton Centre in Headingley have been put on hold this week. JD Wetherspoon bought the site in 2014 in the hopes of turning the Grade 2 listed building into another branch. But the scheme has not met the approval of local residents who are worried about parking, the safety of children and drunken behaviour.
Consider the basic facts. The proposed pub is enormous, whether it's for 1,000 drinkers or 550. And incidentally, the figure of 1,000 came from Wetherspoon's initial planning application.
No extra measures which are in any way going to impact or reduce the effect of their patrons on the peace and quiet enjoyment of our properties. And so for these reasons, I ask the licensing subcommittee to refuse this application.
These were not the only concerns.
Cumulative impact policy, I think, that you've heard about, that was talked about in there, if they are granted this as a pub, then I think it will actually render that policy redundant, and so then I think it will be a green light for other places to want to establish themselves as drinking outlets and pubs and what have you. Yeah.
Supporting the residents was the lead councillor for the Headingley ward.
And I think it'll be bad for Headingley Town Centre as a whole and for Hyde Park for the reasons of public disturbance, public nuisance, traffic issues, safety of cyclists, safety of pedestrians. Not to mention, we've got a duty of care of public health towards young people in our care in Leeds, and we take that very seriously.
A decision by Leeds City Council as to whether the licence will be granted will be sent out to applicants at the beginning of next week. I'm Megan Packer for Leeds Hacks News.
Cyclists say they're still in danger in spite of a new multi-million-pound route that opened between Bradford and Leeds earlier this year. This dramatic footage shows the dangers local cyclists have to face on a daily basis.
Camera 1 in it.
Why?
John Harkins on Kirkstall Road in November has cemented the importance of safety in the Leeds area. Since the £29 million superhighway's introduction, it has also come under harsh criticism regarding both cyclist and pedestrian safety. Earlier on today, I spoke to Sam Cook from Cycle City Connect.
So the goal of Superhighway is to give people who want to travel into Leeds and Bradford a safe cycling route that's segregated from the main flow of traffic. The reason why we're building a segregated route like this is because the most common barrier, or the most common thing that we get told why people don't ride bikes, is because they don't feel safe cycling on the road. Many of the accidents that have been reported widely recently have been on corridors other than the Cycle Superhighway, Kirkstall Road and Otley Road as well. And these are tragic events and they're completely unnecessary deaths. And it's down to segregation like this and infrastructure like this, and all the calls from the cycle campaigns and other commentators have said, the reason why accidents happen is because there isn't enough space for cycling.
On the subject of cycling, the Tour de Yorkshire route has been announced today.
The route starts in Bridlington through to Scarborough, Tadcaster, Harrogate, Bradford to Fox Valley and eventually ends in Sheffield. The 3-day event will take place over 3 stages, starting on the 28th of April and ending on the 30th of April.
In other news, referrals from calls to a dedicated football abuse hotline more than tripled the amount made in the first 3 days of the Jimmy Savile scandal. Caris Dalsell from the NSPCC in Leeds has said the charity is busier than ever since the last revelations broke. This week, Leeds United was named as the latest football club to be engulfed by allegations of a child sexual abuse within the sport.
More than 20 former footballers have so far come forward with allegations of historical child sex abuse in football, with 5 police forces investigating. Ex-Leeds United player David White is among those who has spoken publicly about being sexually abused as a child by a coach.
Fashion industry experts across Leeds have come together to launch a new programme of networking events.
Fashion startup Building Your Brand is for the fashion community in Leeds and aims to bring people together to be inspired. The event welcomed professionals working in the industry to share their knowledge for those looking to work in fashion and textiles in the near future. Kennedy Granger reports.
The first in a series of events for the fashion community in Leeds aims to bring people together to talk, learn and be inspired. There are many partners from all over the city supporting the event. For example, Leeds City Council, Leeds BIT and our very own Leeds Beckett University. As part of a wider project to market and develop fashion in Leeds, the event featured industry experts sharing their knowledge and expertise on how to start a fashion brand.
I guess our ambition is that, we're stood here in the Tetley. Everyone has heard of Tetley, but it started off as a little idea that one person had in Leeds. Everyone's heard of Marks and Spencer's, but that started as an idea that somebody had and started in Leeds. We'd love to be a fantastic retail fashion brand here in this room that nobody's heard of yet, that we can all say, oh yeah, I knew them before they were famous. And I think if we can contribute to some of that, then that's the council's reason for doing this, is really just to help people build their businesses and be successful. So
Fashion in Leeds has a long history, and with fashion designers around the world looking for authenticity in their products, Leeds has lots to offer.
I think Leeds has got an amazing potential because you've got the textiles on your doorstep, and the textiles are what sort of everyone gets really excited about. From Japanese department stores and brands that want a little piece of England or a little piece of the UK, something that's made in the UK, something that's authentic, but also to the designers who are often based in London or based in other parts of the country, who will very happily get on a train and come up and source the most authentic fabrics that they can find. So if you think that that's the new trend, which I think it is, then it's perfectly logical for designers to actually set up home in Yorkshire and stay and live and work here. You're 2.5 hours by train from London, so that's no distance at all. It's no further in time than it would be if you were getting on a train and going to Paris, for example. And it's cheaper and it's nicer than living in London, so why not?
I think Leeds has quite a long history of textiles, and I think it's important that this history is continued and that future generations still have the possibility to kind of learn about the history and kind of get engaged and trying to make it their own thing and create something modern with it.
Tonight was just the start of new fashion events in Leeds. Make sure to keep an eye out for more. This is Kennedy Granger reporting for Leeds Axe News.
December and January are the deadliest months for asthma sufferers, according to figures collected over the last 10 years. Leeds' mum, Ruth Smith, was diagnosed with severe asthma 9 years ago, which forced her to make drastic changes to her lifestyle.
Despite this, she is determined to remain as active as possible, even pledging to run the London Marathon to raise public awareness and funds for the Asthma UK charity. Our reporter, Faye Khaled, got a chance to meet with her.
Ruth Smith has been battling severe asthma for 9 years, but that hasn't stopped her from living her life.
I was diagnosed with asthma when I was 30. It started off with, I just thought I had a bad chest. Went for an x-ray, had quite a bad coughing fit while I was there, and a nurse said, I think you need to actually be admitted. So I had to try different drugs over the last few years to see whether it would help my asthma. So there's been a few times where I've actually had quite serious cases where I've been in hospital because the drugs haven't worked, which obviously has a huge impact on my life. I had a little boy when I was 32. It's just simple things like going out, playing with a child. I have to be aware of my surroundings, so it isn't just a case of I can go and play football with him. If it's a cold day like today, I wouldn't be able to play football with him. I would be out of breath. This time of the year, obviously bonfire night, people are celebrating, Christmas lights getting put up, people have fireworks. I can't take part in things like that, but it's quite sad in a way because it's something I always used to enjoy as a child. So knowing that my son doesn't really take part in that because of something that's wrong with me is quite sad.
So can you tell us what you're doing for Asthma UK, the charity?
Well, I decided obviously a few years ago that I wasn't going to let it beat me, so I thought, why not run a marathon? Let's do the London Marathon if we're going to do one. So I applied for Asthma UK to see if I could get one of their charity places. Sent a little bit of information about myself, why I wanted to run for Asthma UK, why it was important for me, the charity, and they said they'd love to have me on board. They ran the marathon in April this year, and obviously it killed me in all sorts of ways, but at the same time it was the most amazing experience. I literally just sobbed because it's that knowing that you've done something that in theory you shouldn't be able to do.
Feiruz Khaled reporting for Leeds Hacks News.
It's the start of the festive party season, but for West Yorkshire Police this means an increase in rape and sexual offence reports. We asked the people of Leeds how they keep safe this time of year.
Always have something to protect yourself with that,
I wouldn't go away with anyone I don't know. I would just wander off.
Yeah.
I often call someone when I'm walking home, if I'm just doing the last bit.
Yeah, or pre-book a taxi and stuff, you know, so it's there when you finish your night out and stuff. Yeah.
Try not to leave them on the side or go away from my drinks too much. Also, if I have been drinking a lot and I am quite drunk, I'll make sure I stay with my friends and I'll get a taxi home with them just to make sure that I'm safe. I've looked after a guy friend before who's been really drunk and I just said, let's just go. Do you know what I mean? I'll get a taxi with you, make sure you're safe. Don't leave yourself on your own, really, that's the main one.
Unfortunately, sometimes our precautions aren't enough to keep us safe. A campaign aimed at reducing serious sexual offences over Christmas and New Year has been launched to raise awareness of the problem. I spoke to Mark Fox, Student Liaison Officer, about the aims of the campaign.
This campaign is fresh and it's Russ Foster, who's Assistant Chief Constable. He's rolling the campaign out. And it's basically aimed at the festive period and in Leeds. But generally it's UK wide. Each force will be doing their own thing. But ours is mainly on consent in West Yorkshire because that's been a major issue last year. When we investigate rapes or serious sexual offences, it all comes down to, well, she led me on, we discussed earlier that we'd have sex or whatever. And then when it comes to it, and I say girl, we do have male rapes but the minimum compared. The girl might say, actually, no, I don't want to. And it's when the guy's got it in his head, well, you were all up for it, you're having it or whatever, that's when the consent kicks in. And it is the part of the offence that we look at improving there was no consent in those circumstances. So it's trying to get out social media to think about consent prior to going out. You know, if their aim is to get a girl that night, think about the consent element and where you could end up rather than on a nice fluffy mattress. You'd end up on a blue one in a cell. So that's it.
The clock has struck, December has arrived, and so has the pantomime season.
Theatres these days rely on pantomimes to bring in a box office boost. At Carriage Works Theatre in Leeds, the pantomime Cinderella opens tonight, starring Britain's Got Talent star Jay McDowell. Anna Hoyos has more.
Today sees the opening of Cinderella at Carriage Works Theatre. The show has already sold over 10,000 tickets and features Britain's Got Talent winner Jay McDowell, who will take on the role of Prince Charming. He spoke to us about his experience.
I played Prince Charming once before, and he was a very stuffy prince, but this prince is slightly funnier. I'm not funnier, the prince is funnier. Someone writes my gags. I don't have any, actually. I don't have any gags, I'm lying. But it is a funnier prince, and the company as a whole we've had a great time rehearsing, and just getting to the point of opening night. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the audiences think, because I love it, so wait and see. I actually really like Leeds. We've been here 2 weeks. I've only literally saw the pub across the road and the bus stop, but on my next day off I plan to explore a little bit more and get to see most of the city. But I think it's a really nice city, and what I have seen of it, the people are nice, and there's a lovely German market just right outside the theatre which sells great Nutella crepes, which is not good for my waistline. But I do, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's really good.
We also spoke to Gwen Marie Ewing, the Arts and Promotions Officer of the venue, who told us more about what the event brings to Leeds.
Very important. It is basically the production that we put on every year in order to have the rest of the season. We sell more tickets and bring in more income for this show than we do for anything else all year. And it also is the thing that everybody loves about the Carriage Works Theatre. So I think it's part of what makes us part of the Leeds community. We think that we've kind of found our niche. Because there are different styles of panto, and we have always been Leeds traditional panto. Some people think of it as a bit old school, but there are a lot of people that still love that style, kind of the like traditional gags that pantomime gives you.
Don't worry if you can't get to the panto. Leeds Hacks persuaded Jai to give us a sneak preview of the show.
Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. I only wanna see you bathing in the purple rain.
That's all from us today. Have you got any plans this weekend, Henry?
For once I'm doing nothing. I'll be having a nice, relaxing weekend with my feet up watching the football.
Sounds wonderful. Hope you all have a relaxing weekend as well. Goodbye.
Goodbye.